Hi everyone, Sarah here. I have a couple of cards to share with you that I've been sharing on my Instagram, and then I am going to do a tutorial on one of them. So the first card is this Christmas card that I made with the Lawn Fawn and Simon Says stamp. For Stamptember is Merry Christmas. Super cute stamp set. I had to get it. I don't have any little mice. It's so adorable. So, and as soon as I got it, I wanted to color it up. So I colored up I stamped out all the little images on my Copic paper and colored them with Copics. And then I was trying to figure out what to do with them. So I had this folding card base that has just been sitting in my stash. I made it myself with cardstock just off of a tutorial on Split Coast stampers, and I'm sorry I don't remember which one because honestly these have been sitting in my room for a long time. So it's basically just scored and cut so that it'll be an accordion. Excuse me. And I used this paper, which is from Pebbles, and it's Welcome Christmas. Had this one in my stash for a while also and haven't used it, so I pulled that out. I thought the colors were perfect. And basically all I did was color block a few of the blocks with the patterned paper and then strategically stamped and placed the images. So on the front it starts out with naughty or mice. And I have the little mouse in the stocking there. I used a little tiny black crystal acrylic there to make it look like a nail, and I did add in some of the clear ones. And then down at the bottom here is just the little Santa mouse. He's there by himself, and the cheese present. So I just glued them in together. And then when you open it up, the little mouse with the present is sitting up on top here. And you can still see the mouse with the cheese. And then on the back we have the cheese Christmas tree, and I did put some little gems on it also for Christmas decorations. And there is Winka Stella on it too. And then the little mouse that's by himself right here, I just layered on top. And the stocking that's empty, also with another black acrylic there. And then on the back, when you close it up, it says, "Sorry, I'm cheesy." I love that because you know, sorry, I'm, and then you can put cheesy with it, or mice, or anything. So I put that on the back. So adorable. It's just a cute little card. So there's that one. And then the next one that I made, I wanted to play with my Nuance powders. So this is what I'm going to show you guys. This one here. I was making like a fall background with the Nuance powders on watercolor paper, and then I colored up this Polycraft. This one is Tawny. This one right here. This is from last year, from the Not Too Shabby shop. So I colored her up with my Peerless watercolors. So I'm going to do the background, and I'm not going to do this image. I'm going to do a different one, but I'm going to do a card just like this. So to start off with that, I have pre-cut watercolor paper, and I use the Canson XL watercolor. So that's the paper that I use. And I like to keep a lot of these just pre-cut with my die cuts. So this is a stitched rectangle, and the ones that I use in this card, this is the big one, I use the stitched rectangle from Blueprints 13. That's kind of my go-to because that's the big one that leaves just a nice 1/4 inch edge to your card. So that's that one. So then I have this one from Mama Elephant, which, sad to say, I double checked because I wanted to see what the name was, and it's actually no longer available. They don't have this set anymore with just the stitch rectangle and the scalloped rectangle. They do have a set that has these with other items inside, but not this one by itself. So this one cuts at a lot smaller. You can actually fit this one inside of the MFT one. So this one's 3.5 by 4 3/4 is the outside edge of that one. So that's a really good one for cards too. So that's this. So you can see actually the difference this one fits right inside of that one. So I could use both of them together if I wanted to. Okay, so for the background, I take my rectangle and I have some painter's tape that I just keep here stuck to my table. And I just do the tiny, tiny edge outside of the stitching. And you don't have to do all the way around for this. All I'm doing is just to hold it flat. Because if it's not flat, when you put this on and put your water on, your paper is going to curl, and that's going to affect how the powders are going to react with the water. So I have my Nuance powders here. So for this one, when I did this one here with the fall colors, I used this orange here. Again, there's no names for these, so unfortunately it's the lightest orange that they have. So I just tap some out. And then I also used the darker orange. Oof. Let me show you these two side by side so you can see. So this is the darker orange. And then the other one that I used is a blue. Now there are 3 blues in the set. There is a light blue, a medium blue, and this one is a dark blue. And it's the dark blue that I'm using. It has green in it. So just putting a little bit. I know it's hard to see. Let me see if I can zoom in so you guys can see what it looks like. So literally that's all you see. I'll stay close like that so you can see how it reacts. And I just have a water bottle from the dollar store. Nothing fancy. And I actually like this. I know it's not the best water bottle, but I like it for the way that it sprays. So I always kind of get it started over my garbage bucket. And I'm just like lightly pulling the trigger. And if you want them to go in a different direction, spray from the other side. So literally that is it. I'm just going to wipe off around the edges. And this is where you need to decide if you want dark colors, like bright colors, or if you want muted colors. So the muted colors, you want to take some of the water off, but if you want it really bright, you can either leave it like this and let it dry by itself, or use a heat gun. The heat gun does help mix some of the colors. So I'm going to just zap it with the heat gun real quickly. Sorry about the noise. And then because I want this muted, because I wanted a background, I don't want it too bright, I'm actually going to just dab at it. So that's what gives you the nice light muted colors. And I think I actually used the wrong color. I don't think I used the blue. I think it was the other way around, is that I used the green that has the blue in it. So I'll do another one here to show you guys. That one turned out really cool though. So there's that. Get another one out here real quick. Okay, so again, I'm going to do the light orange. That's the majority of the color I want, is the light orange, so that's why I put a lot of that. And then the dark orange. And then this one I'm going to do the dark green. There in the set there's a light green and a dark green, but there's the dark. Okay. I'm going to get myself a clean paper towel. And move this out of the way. There we go, that's better. Beautiful. So there's our fall colors. So I'm gonna heat it with a blast it with the heat gun. And then dab it off because I don't want that muddy color there. Such a beautiful effect. Alright, so there's that one, and I will be back with my stamped image to color in for you. Okay, so I'm using my Canson mixed media paper and stamping the images out with MFT hybrid ink in black licorice. It's my favorite go-to for watercoloring. I'm using Latte Anya and Evie from the Super Secret Stamp Club. Both of those are the Greeting Farm images. I use the Peerless Watercolor Complete Edition, and I also have the bonus pack that just says Full Spectrum of Colors. It doesn't have another name on it. I'm zooming in on the first image. On the second one, I will stay further out so that you can see how I actually work with the Peerless watercolors to see the whole process of it. For the skin color, I have yet to find one or a combination of colors with the Peerless that I like on the skin color, so I still use my Tattered Rose and Spun Sugar from the Distress markers. They seem to work well for me. I always do one coat first on the skin color just to get a base down, and then I add on to it after. You have to wait for the layers to dry in between, or else you'll take too much color off, or you can ruin your paper also. And when you are adding in cheeks like that, if your first color is totally dry, it is best to go over the whole face, like the whole section that you're coloring, or else you'll see watermarks for where you've added on with the brush. So I just have my watercolors off to the side, and I do have the background up above, and I'm just going back and forth between the pages of the book that I keep the watercolors in to find colors that match with the background. So you'll see me pause every now and then just because I'm trying to find a color, and I'm trying to stick with these ones with muted fall colors because I wanted to keep them nice fall cards. I always tend to load up my brush with the color and outline either the whole outside of it or one side, and then pull the color down with the water. And again, if you don't like the way it turns out at first, you can do more color over top or more water over top. Anything at all will, because it's watercolor, it always reacts when you put water on it. And that's the one good thing about the Peerless watercolors, is that they do kind of react to water just like the Distress markers. So if you want to do a background with them and add in the water drops, that does work. I had a hard time getting her hat to look the way I wanted it. Such a big space. In the end, I believe I did use about 3 different brown colors on the hat. Probably should have stuck with it the way it is right there with the nice light colors, but it still turned out cute. And the first image that I'm coloring is the image that's going on the first background, so it was the one that I used the blue in it accidentally. So that's why I'm using this grayish blue color. And then I will be adding another blue on top of it to kind of make it match the blue that's in the background. This part here will be a good example of when you use one color, like I used the yellow on her shirt, and then I wanted like an orangey yellow, so I added red on top, and you can mix it in and it will blend with the color. At any time, if you don't like the way your color is turning out, or if you thought you did it too bright, just use some water and that will lighten it up. But you can also put extra water on it and then dab it off with a paper towel, and that will take some of the color off. So for this one, I'm just going to leave you with some music and I will come back for the second image. Okay, so for this image, you can see how I lay out my table for when I'm working with my Peerless watercolors. I always have my image stamped and on the paper, and usually I just leave it in the book. I find it easier because it's a nice cushioning and it raises it up. And then I have whatever inspiration that I need. So in this case, the background that has the colors for me. And then I have my booklets with the actual pieces of Peerless watercolor paper in them. Now the bonus pack, it was a shared item, so my mom and I had shared it. So she cut off the pieces for me and I stapled them into a notebook that I purchased from the dollar store. So they are all in there. I have little swatches that I've done beside them with the watercolor brush so that I can see the light colors, the dark colors, how it works. And they're just in there in the order that they came. So most of the colors are together. And basically I will just flip through the book until I see a color that I want. For the complete edition, the actual pieces of watercolor paper are the full size of that yellow booklet that's up there. So for those, I actually could have cut some off, but this book that I have is full. I just have one sheet that's in the front of my little booklet that has samples of the colors and their names for the original pack. So if I don't see a color that I want to use there, then I'll go into the booklet and use it from the bonus pack. I find it really easy just to flip through, and it's just like the paper that's in there is thick, so if they're a little bit wet, when I close it, it's not a big deal. The color kind of just gets blotted off on the back. So a lot of people use page protectors so that it's a plastic coating on top of them, but I find that it's not a big deal. The parts where, like on that page where you can see the pink, that's actually pigment powder from one of the sheets, basically, that just touched when I was putting it together, so it doesn't affect anything. It just doesn't look pretty, that's all. I do love, there's a wide range of colors. There is a flesh tint color in the original pack, but it's kind of like an orangey, which I'm not a big fan of orange skin. So until I actually play with it more and try and figure out what colors, I'm sure there is a combination to use. So I know this one's not as close for you to see the actual process on the paper, but I thought you guys might enjoy the actual how to use the Peerless watercolors. So basically my brush is always wet because it's one of the aqua brushes, and I just touch the tip of it to the Peerless watercolor paper and that will take pigment off. You can see some of the discolored areas, that's kind of where I've already used it, and I've had these for quite a few years, so they really will last a very, very long time. Some of them look like they've barely even been used, which some have barely been used, but I think this one came together a little bit quicker than the other one. Then when the images were done coloring, what I did was added some whites to their eyes with white gel pen. I also did use my black Distress watercolor marker to brighten the lines. On the first image, I brightened all of the lines of the image, and on this one, I brightened up the eyes because her eyes didn't stamp very well. And then after that, I fussy cut them all out and used the black Distress marker around the edges and attached them with foam tape onto the cards. So after this, you will see I've added in pictures of the cards for you, and I will be posting them on my blog. The link will be down below. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and comments are always welcome. Have a great day.